Hi, my name is Dylan Lamb, and this is my partner, Andrew Thomson, and we're the co-founders of WA's first circular economy focused consultancy, Holonic. Our presentation today is titled From a Linear to a Circular Economy. Where is Western Australia at, and where do we need to move to? The circular economy is about transitioning towards an economy that can work long term. Andy and I are here today to give a broader framing of the circular economy and hopefully inspire you all to take action. I hope the next 18 or so minutes helps to shift your thinking and imagine what is possible in Perth and Western Australia, a beautiful place that we all call home. We'll be asking you to participate in our presentation in real time by answering some simple questions. So, who has their smartphone with them? Grab it out, go to your browser, punch in www.slido.com and enter the event code Circular Perth. Keep your phone handy throughout the presentation to participate in the live polling.
Why have you brought that alarm clock in?
I'll get to that at the end of the presentation, Andy.
Okay, so most of you would have heard about the circular economy prior to this conference. If not, not to worry. But as many of you know, the circular economy has become a bit of a buzzword. The World Economic Forum are championing it as an imperative and stressing the urgency that we need to move from our linear to circular model. They go on to say the potential for innovation, job creation and economic development is huge, with estimates indicating $1 trillion opportunity. But do we really understand what it's all about, as the term often gets thrown around a lot? Okay, but let's start by pushing the circular part away for a while and look at this fundamental word and start to unpack what our present understanding of the economy is.
Thanks, Andy. So here is our first question for the audience. Please have your phones ready. What are the first words that come to mind when you hear the word economy? So use single word answers.
So these results pretty interesting, hey Dylan?
Yeah, definitely. No surprises there. We commonly see money.
Yeah.
Growth, finance, business.
Excellent. Okay, so several years ago, I asked myself this question: what is the purpose of the economy? Okay, is it really about growth and money and everything that we've seen on the previous slide? This then led me to ask myself the question, well, what is the economy? It's something that we don't ask ourselves often. And after pondering on these questions for a while, the pressures of daily life slowly pushed them into the back of my mind. And it wasn't until I signed up to be part of the first cohort of students on the world's first circular economy focused MBA that they quickly resurfaced. So this is basically when my journey down the rabbit hole began in search of answers. And after reading a lot and working with many experts within the circular field and beyond, I began to unlearn much of what I had come to believe was true and started to formulate new insights as I connected the dots and developed my own models and explanations. Then when looking for a topic for my final project, I posed the question to my professor and circular economy expert, Professor Peter Hopkinson. What is the purpose of the economy? What is the economy? And I sent him through models like this that I created and sent him through some other presentations that I'd given. And the first thing that he said was, And then a few days later, he came back and said, I like that. I've been having similar discussions with such and such, and so forth. And then he said something really pretty profound and simple that he later repeated at a conference. And it was, we all get this linear to circular bit, but we struggle with the word economy. Therefore, the circular economy is often misunderstood, confused with better recycling, waste management, rebranded, and perfect circles. So, on my journey, the most beneficial step into understanding what the economy was really about was to ask, well, where does the word economy come from? And what I discovered is that our present understanding has evolved from French and Latin origins and revolves around growth, jobs, GDP, markets, production, many of the similar words that we saw in the first word cloud. You don't have to put on the news to actually hear a lot of these words. And when we look at the economic textbooks, some refer to satisfying unlimited needs and wants with limited resources. But if we go back further and we actually look at what, where the present day word of the economy comes from, it actually comes from the ancient Greek word oikonomia, which relates to household management, rule of conduct of the home, or maintenance of the home, something around those ideas. And this is created from a couple of different words. So oikos, which means house, household, home, community. And the other Greek words, mnemon, which is to manage, and nomos, which is to rule. I just want to throw out there the word ecosystem. Obviously, you can see the parallels with the word economy. Eco exists in both, but the word literally means the house or home of life. So, there's some close synergies between those two words. So then I thought, with all this talk of home, well, what is my home? And after scratching my head for a while and reading some inspirational books, I thought, well, my body, this would be my home all my life. This is where my thoughts and emotions live. And I thought, well, I'm part of a family. This is my home life. Both my wife and myself look after our home. We look after our baby. We go out and work, paid work, and work that we do at home. And I thought, well, if we zoom out further, we see our house, we see the house of our neighbours. Then I thought, well, our quality of home also depends on their quality of life. And if we zoom out further, we see our street as part of a community, which also impacts our well-beings. And many of those who live in this community actually work here and actually bring value to the community itself. And most people here today will call this beautiful place home. It's been my home now for about 7 years, and we all depend on it. We depend on the natural resources, the air that we breathe, but we also depend to a larger extent on the people who live here. And pretty much all of us will call this place home, yeah? Well, maybe this place, especially if we met an alien. Okay. So, looking at all these different scales, I or we, everybody in the room here today, live within homes, right? One home is part of a bigger home, and they are all interconnected and interdependent. It's the home of life. Okay. So you get the connection with the ecosystem that we discussed before.
Thanks, Andy. I know I've personally been inspired by your journey studying your circular economy MBA and going down the rabbit hole. So on that note, here's our second question for the audience based on Andy's journey. From a collective human perspective, what words describe the real purpose of our economies? And I want you to think beyond growth and money to the real purpose, to you, your family, your community, your friends, your colleagues, and most importantly, to future generations.
Pretty interesting results there, yeah? To actually see the word life in the middle.
Those words are a lot better than the first one, hey, Andy?
Yeah.
Life, community exchange, well-being, that's probably my favorite. Yeah. Sustainability, sharing, security, health, support, happiness, safety. Brilliant.
Excellent. So for me, having gone down, the rabbit hole and going on my journey, my definition of what the economy is or the purpose actually took quite a while. But in retrospect, it was pretty obvious. The reason it took a while was I had to unpack all these assumptions. So here's what I actually came up with. The purpose of the economy is to look after our homes, within homes, to improve well-being for all, today and tomorrow. I just want to highlight the word look after. And to look after actually requires work. And really the economy is about the work that we do, but more specifically the type of work that we do. Okay, so to look after is actually to do the right type of work, regardless of whether it's paid or not. So hopefully by reframing the concept of an economy, it's now obvious that our economy should be inherently circular, as is in nature. The circular bit is a metaphor to help reframe the word economy. Yes, the circular economy has heuristic frameworks, building blocks, and a new language, but it's really about reframing what is the economy. It's about an economy that by intention and design is regenerative. Yeah. So it's about reframing everything to actually develop an economy that serves people in the future, today and tomorrow. So seeing as we're here at a waste conference, I want to say to you, let's not trash our homes. Yeah. The homes of our children and grandchildren. It's time to start looking after our homes as they provide for us. So on that point, remember, waste is a symptom of an economic system that needs changing. A system that we're all part of.
A system that we can change. We can change this system if we think and work in different ways. So on that note, let's look at what's happening around the world and closer to home when it comes to systems change and the circular economy. Across the globe, circularity is driving innovation and influencing policy and decision making. The European Union introduced its policy in 2015, the Closing the Loop package. Whole cities and communities are looking to become circular. We'll hear more from Darren Perrin about this next with the Yarrabilba community in Queensland. And of course, the World Economic Forum, as we discussed at the beginning, are right behind it. Next, let's look at businesses and universities. So both businesses, large and small. So we've been working with several small businesses here in Perth that are rethinking their value proposition and redeveloping their business for the circular economy. But we've also got, household names like Google, Philips, Unilever, Renault, H&M, that are all, redesigning their business and looking long term at how their business will operate in the circular economy in the future. And some of the world's leading universities, like the University of Bradford, where Andy did his MBA, are also rethinking their value proposition. They're bringing together, business schools, entrepreneurship schools, environmental studies to offer holistic circular economy education, research and training. I'd love to see some Australian universities on that list in the future, maybe even some Western Australian ones. So nationally in Australia, we sort of categorise it into three things. And here on the screen, it's not an exhaustive list, but some of the sort of favourite things that we've seen since we started Holonic in the circular economy sector in Australia. We're seeing governments, mostly over East and in South Australia, developing and implementing new circular economy policy. We've got dedicated innovation hubs emerging, like the Loop platform in South Australia, which has been around for a few years, and just this year, the CE Lab. Sorry, that one there. And last but not least, Australian universities are sort of moving this way towards sort of circular economy offerings, new courses, education and research. And the Environmental Foundation Planet ARC are developing a national circular economy hub to share best practices, tools and resources. And we've been really excited to have some early discussions with them, and we'll be collaborating with them next year. So my question is now to you, WA, to everyone in this room. Do we want to be remembered as linear laggards or as circular champions? Circular champions, yeah? It's obvious. I want to be a circular champion. Andy wants to be a circular champion. Even his little baby boy Satcha's going to be a circular champion one day. At Holonic, we say this, now is the most exciting and important time to be an innovator in this space. So on that note, pull out your phones one last time and answer this. What's needed to accelerate the transition to a circular economy in Western Australia? Now this time you can use single or double word answers. We'll give everyone 30 seconds. You can submit as many things as you like. What do you think of that, Andy? Some good words.
Yeah, some interesting words. Obviously education coming out on top. And policy, investment, legislation.
I think the understanding is quite important as well, about understanding what the circular economy really is.
Yeah, there's a lot, like we said before, there's a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah, collaboration is a really good one as well.
Yeah, excellent.
Fantastic. Thank you to everyone for participating in the live polling with Slido. So for us, it's two words: systemic innovation. Underpinning all of this is the need for a new type of innovation, systemic innovation, where people and nature are truly valued. This requires us to start to connect the dots and appreciate the interdependencies between our homes, to better collaborate, to take a systems long-term approach. And this all starts by us asking better questions, challenging our assumptions and the status quo. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and we invite everyone here at Waste and Recycle 2019 to get involved. You can do this in a couple of ways. If you're in a position of power and responsibility and can help make the circular economy a reality in WA from the top down, come and speak to us here at this conference about the Circular Economy Innovation Network we have started to develop with key stakeholders, many of which are in this room already here today. And if you are keen on driving this from the bottom up or want to simply learn more, I mean, everyone shared that education was one of the biggest pieces with accelerating the transition, then join our Circular Economy Perth meetup group based in the CBD. Our next event is on the 8th of October with Circular Berlin. We meet once a month to explore what the circular economy is, what the opportunities are, what new tools are out there, and most importantly, we showcase local businesses and individuals, our partners, already operating in this space in Perth, in Western Australia, across Australia and across the globe. Remember how I had that alarm clock at the beginning? That clock's ticking. We've all snoozed long enough. It's time to get up and get to work on something with real purpose. This is what work means to Andy and I. It's what we get up and do each day when that alarm goes off. We're on a mission to help purposeful business, forward-thinking governments, and progressive academia accelerate the fundamental yet exciting shift from a linear to a circular economy. Using creative and collaborative tools and processes with local, national, and global partners, we work with leaders, champions, and grassroots initiatives across 3 key areas: training and awareness, which includes network and community building; support and consultation, assisting your organisation to understand where they're at and what they can do to work towards a circular economy; and strategic planning, design and innovation, where we work for your organisation on a specific project. Thank you to everyone, and I look forward to connecting with you over the next day and a half at the conference. Jump on our website, www.holonic.com.au, sign up to our In the Loop mailing list. We're on all socials. I also run a local Brilliant Perth podcast where I chat with systems change makers and people that are really inspiring me on the circular economy. And I've got a podcast coming out with Paul Frasca from Sustainable Salons, who keynoted at the conference. Cheers.
Thanks.